Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Memorial Day, and sky looks clear here. Denny says the morning weatherman guessed it wrong. Still sunny, no rain. Yeah, they screwed that one up big time. Yesterday, it was supposed to be a complete, total washout, and one bad had a little bit of a light rain in the morning, and the rest of the day was pretty nice. In fact, yesterday afternoon, the sun came out, and it was actually pretty nice. Typical weathermen. You can't go by their forecast. It's they might have an idea, and so either way, it's a production. It's you turn on the television. It's a show that they put on, and they don't always have their facts straight. Hey Google, good morning.
Hello, Lucky Dog. The time is 8 a.m. Right now in DeLand it's 76 and cloudy. Today, there'll be scattered thunderstorms with a forecasted high of 87 and a low of 73. By the way, you need to set out trash.
Yeah,
have a good one.
I'll set out the trash. And she got it wrong. I'm looking now. I see blue sky. There might be some clouds out there, but I see blue skies. Good morning, Ron. Raining hard. I had 1 inch, so Ron got more rain than we did. So it's they probably said you wasn't going to get any, and now you're getting smashed with rain. That's the weatherman for you. I got where I don't pay attention to them. Well, I do pay attention to them. Why do I? I'm not very bright because how many times do they get it wrong? It's a good thing to bring up the weather, get an idea, but don't plan nothing too close around it because they'll probably be wrong. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
How do birds learn to fly? They just wing it.
They just wing it. Oh, I had birds again in the fireplace that they're wanting to build a nest, and I hear them fluttering around up there. And what I do is I go in there and take a little bit of paper and start a small fire, and they leave. But a day or two later, they'll come back, and I'm trying to keep them from building a nest. They've done that before. I used to have a screen on top of it, but hurricane blew it off, and it's not so easy to get up on the roof anymore, so I haven't put it up there again. But anyway, I've been chasing birds around, so yeah, Memorial Day, memorialize our soldiers and that, but not only our soldiers. Memorial Day is a memorial. Anyone that's been in your life or hasn't even been in your life that passed away, memorial, remember them, so that's what today's about. Ron said he got a new airplane. Ron says they got 1 inch today, but it looks like more than that. And then he says so did Boston area. They got 10 inches of rain. So it's been wet again all over the country. I think I saw Ohio had a little flooding too, and it was kind of wet there. So well, Ron said yesterday he went into his club thing. They had someone was selling a bunch of used stuff. Someone had passed away, and he put up a little video, and I'll show you a little. This is a picture of the airplane that Ron got. Looks like a nice little plane. It's basically I think it's like an extra 300, and that's a cool plane. Now it's not a beginner plane, so Ron, if you start flying that, you have to remember that thing won't fly like a glider or anything else. It basically, with the symmetrical wing, it will continue to go in the way it points. It's aerobatic, and so if it's pointing down, it'll continue to go down. It won't it won't correct. Some airplanes will kind of balance themselves off, but even with that ASC or the like the gyro thing in it, it'll help somebody. It won't stop it from going down. So it's one that's not going to fly like a beginner airplane. So I thought I would pass that on to you just so you realize that your other one, if you can get some time on it first, would be a good idea. Get some little time on that one then, and then move up to this one, or fly with this one with a buddy box with somebody too. That'd be a good idea. Anyway, I thought I'd show that to you. Got a good deal on it. That happens often in the RC club that someone had been into it. Maybe they passed away and their widow will be selling it, and they'll reach out to the clubs, and you can generally get some pretty decent deals out of them, and I always figure anything you buy used, you should get it for about half price. Because then I think it's only worth about half price. So I'm not going to pay full price. We have one guy at our club. He thinks he's going to get top dollar out of something. But it's like, I'm not going to pay that for it. It's used. I'll go buy a brand new one. You know, so yeah, it sounds like you got a pretty good deal on it. Swap meets are fun. We have them at our club now and then on it. However, the thing says, hey, when is the last time you slept longer than 9 hours? 9 hours. I cannot remember a time where I slept more. Now during the day, maybe I'll get a day where all I want to do is sleep, but not at night. You know, go to bed, sleep longer than 9 hours. So see, oh, I see John's there. Clear but cool here. Oh, good to see you, John. Looks like you had a great trip. And John's back home again. He's been traveling all over. He had some great pictures he shared on Facebook with us. So I'm glad to see John come back online again. It's the sun just came out real nice, bright here today, but they're calling for some rain. So
yeah, Florida's under level 2 emergency.
Yeah, we're under level 2 emergency, so it's frightening. Oh, Ron says, okay, I'll use the other plane till I can feel the handle. Yeah, I mean, give yourself a little time, because it's going to fly different than a trainer airplane. It's more of an aerobatic airplane, so that, so you're successful, you know, on it. So, but yeah, it cracks me that sometimes they do these, like they had a statewide, emergency level 2 here for Florida on it, and it's been nothing.
Alberto.
But they do this stuff, and it's called cry wolf, and then when they're actually it's an emergency, you don't pay so much attention to it. So I think it's a bad thing, you know, that they do that. So anyway, so that's the way it goes. So in history, what's some of the biggest historic events that you can remember in your lifetime? It's in the older you are, of course, I think the more historic events was. Oh, John said he had a great 2.5 weeks. It looks like you had a wonderful time, so that's great. I'm just glad you'll be able to go. Yeah, look, some great pictures, you know. Yeah, it's always good to be back home, you know.
I went to the Netherlands, Amsterdam, John.
Yes, Sue went to Amsterdam. I've never been overseas, you know. But, so anyways, back at historical events, here's some pictures like this of the Kennedy assassination.
Yep.
I remember that well. I was about 10 years old. Shuttle Challenger. Yeah, they exploded. There was Challenger, and then the other one. They exploded coming in. Ron said he's going to try his tiny whoop with the FPV goggles. They're fun. It'll get your throttle down. That's the hardest part. So other events, you know, school shootings. Here's Martin Luther King. You know, they assassinated him. Then he says, Governor goes along with it. Yeah, governors, I don't. He's all right, but I'm not crazy about him. So again, back to the thing, the events that's happened in our lives. There's been a lot to events. If you're in the 60s or late 50s, you've seen things. You know, 911, that was a pretty major event. I remember when that happened, it seemed like, you know, we were attacked, you know. You were just wondering if we were going to get completely wiped out because, you know, you had those Twin Towers being attacked and the Pentagon being attacked, and it was a little scary, you know, when that happened because you didn't know what was coming off on it. So yeah, Ron, he said he remembers all that. The funny thing sometimes, like Kennedy, here's a picture of him again, and you'll be talking to somebody, and they just randomly say, well, where were you when Kennedy was killed? And so many people say, I wasn't alive yet. It's like, I guess I'm old, because that don't seem like that long ago. I remember it very clearly when Kennedy was killed, you know. The most exciting part was we got out of school. Yay! It's like I wasn't a Kennedy fan, so.
Also remember the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah, Oklahoma City bombing. I remember that. There's been a lot of major things that's happened.
usually traumatic events.
Yeah, it's a traumatic event for some people. You know, it's only as traumatic as you put it onto it. If it's not that close to you, you know, all these here were traumatic. I think in your lifetime, a more traumatic event would say a loss of a loved one hits you home more. You know, this is a national traumatic event. It doesn't hit you personally. Some people would probably disagree with that, but it was just events that happened that weren't good, you know, on it. John says 9/11 seemed like a work of fiction as it was on. It did seem like a work of fiction, you know. I mean, you turned on, I remember turning on the television, you know, and yeah, it was very bizarre. It really was. That was probably the most bizarre thing that I can remember. You know, all these other events were, you know, some big events, but the 9/11 thing, to turn on TV and watching these planes smash into those trade centers, and then watching them, you know, hit the Pentagon, and it's like, you know, it's like this was.
And running from the smoke and the debris.
Yeah, running from the smoke and debris. But what was really weird, sitting there watching, and all of a sudden watching that building collapse. I mean, this was a huge building, and you just don't think about them completely collapsing down. And it's like, wow, that was really strange. And then not only did the first one collapse, then the second one collapsed. And it's like, whoa, this is just like John says, very bizarre. You know, that was probably the craziest thing that ever did see. I was in New York City back in late 70s, early 80s, maybe it was probably 70s, and I hated New York City. I would never go back there again. But we were looking, back then, the World Trade Centers was not built yet, you know. And so, since I had been there, they'd been built and deployed by then. I mean, they're gone now, so on. But New York wasn't one of my favorite places. I would never go back to New York again. It's just not for me, you know. And I found it scary. Just going there is scary, you know. It's like just too many people. Just it wasn't my thing, you know. So anyway, I thought we'd talk a little bit about history events there for a bit. Another thing I came up with is what life skills are rarely taught today, but needs to be. I can think respect. Well, yeah, that's a good one there. Respect. I do believe that respect is not taught anymore like it should be. It is somewhat, but not like it needs to be, because I believe a lot of people have no respect for other people nowadays, especially when you're driving. But you know, and I was actually thinking more things like changing a tire. You know, I think when you get you should at least know how. I know sometimes physically it could be hard, but you should know how to change a tire. You know, that's something that's not taught today, and it should be taught. In schools, I don't believe they have home ec. I don't even know if they have shop class anymore. I don't know. I haven't been around schools, but I seen where someone said they don't have home ec. To teach how to cook, you know, household things that you should know. Same with shop classes. You know, I'll see people ask things that it seems like you don't know how to do that, you know. Such simple little things that's like, I can't believe you can't do that, you know. I don't know. I can do pretty much anything, but I don't know. It's just like I think the common things, change a washer and a faucet. It's not really that hard, you know. I can change an electrical socket. It's just like 3 wires, you know. It's not really that hard, you know. You know, there's a lot of simple things that someone had asked how to change a fuse the other day. Well, you find the blown fuse, you pull it out, you take the new one, you push it in. It's like, it's so easy, you know. That kind of blows my mind. I'm very mechanical though. For me, most of that stuff is just, it's a duh, you know, because I just do it. I don't even think about it, you know. But I believe there's a lot of things that needs to be taught, especially younger generation, that's not taught today. John says workshop skills should be basic, childhood learning, and how to wield a hammer and use paint. Yes, cooking. You know, all these are common things that you should know, but I do believe there's a lot of, especially younger generation, doesn't know these things anymore. They just don't. They don't teach them in schools. So I think they need to pick that back up again. Years back, I've never had any children, but I did foster kids for a while, and one of my foster kids didn't know how to tell time on a hands clock. He could, you know, digital, you can read it, but on a hands clock, he didn't know how to do that. And I contacted the school. I think they used to teach us that in school. And I said, do you teach these kids how to tell time with a clock with hands? No, we really don't do that. Well, I said, I think you need to. You know, it's like, because he couldn't, and they did. Believe it or not, the school did start teaching. They taught him that then. They should, you know. Yeah, John said, I'm afraid to spend time alone with someone else's kids, though out of accusations that, yeah, I know, and why did they stop shop and home ec in school? That's saying, and I'm right with you, John. I'm afraid to spend time with other people's kids because you can so easily get accused of something it's nothing, that you didn't do nothing, you know. And I have that fear also, not having any kids. I just don't trust spending time with other kids because for my own safety, you know, it's like I think so many accusations are unfounded and blowed up to are nothing, you know, and it's dangerous there. So yeah, I feel the same way. I don't want to spend time with just other people's kids. It's just, I don't feel safe doing that. So that's sad, but it's a fact, you know. Yeah, I'm not a big school fan, and I think school has become such a waste. They emphasize on all the sports and stuff. They sure don't lack on that, but common things that needs to be done is, yeah, Ron says, I don't trust anybody. And it's getting that point. That's sad, but it's true. But yeah, they need to emphasize on everyday skills that, you know, they don't teach. You own a car, check the air in your tires. I bet a lot of them don't know how to check the air in the tires. It's pretty easy, but that's just a common little skill. Put the thing on it, see how many pounds, put air in it if necessary. Just common little things, you know. Cooking, you know, cooking, if you all of a sudden find yourself by yourself and don't know how to cook, well, they fast food it. That's what they do. But cooking skills is good. I mean, I remember, well, I didn't take home ec because the boys seemed like they didn't, which is a good idea for the boys to take it too. But I remember used to cooking something years ago and call my mom, hey mom, I'm making this, and ask her how to do something, and she would tell me. And the trouble is, nowadays, the kids can call their mothers and how to do something they don't even know how to. How do you boil water? Oh, I don't know. I've never done that. You know. Yeah, Ron said he did okay without education. Ron didn't finish high school, and he didn't waste his time. You know, I know a lot of people with emphasis on education. I don't. I graduated high school, and I considered that a waste of time. You know, I don't say that to offend anyone else, but for me, it was a waste of time. I never gained nothing by finishing high school. Ron didn't finish high school, and he ended up with a pretty good career. He had a decent job, made decent money, and he made a lot more money than I did. And I was a high school graduate, and he dropped out, and he did well. You know, so it's never been proved to me. You know, so I don't know what's wrong with that situation, but there is something wrong. Yeah, and as Ron said, we cooked at home too. We as kids, we did cook. Mom was always cooking. And, you know, it's just the whole society has changed. Mothers used to be home with the kids. Dad went out and worked. Mom home did the household things. The kids would learn off of Mom. Kids, we were interested. You know, what are you cooking? How you do this? You know, you picked up things like that. Our dad wasn't good at teaching us skills. He didn't really take time, but Dad should be good at, you know, what are you working on, Dad? You know, and give him a hand. And our dad was kind of like, get out of the way, I'm busy. He never really taught us stuff, not much. So, but yeah, those skills are lacking in today's on it. So, well, anyways, enough about skills. Glad to see John back home and back on again. Ron and Denny hanging out with us today. So, Memorial Day weekend, I don't know that we're going to do much today. We had barbecue over at our friend Todd's yesterday. We had barbecued ribs, barbecued chicken. We had sweet corn on the cob. We had potatoes and a couple beers too. Cabbage with bacon and kielbasa in it. You know, John says off topic, what did you do for a living before retirement? I was an upholsterer. I upholstered furniture for over 30 years, furniture and boats. I had my own business. I worked a couple upholstery shops in the 80s, and then I started my own shop. And so for many years I did mainly furniture, reupholstered furniture and stuff. I worked for some high-end decorating shops that I would do all their upholstery for them. 07 things got slower in the furniture, but boats were still busy, and I started doing boat work, did boat upholstery, did canvas work. I did that for a long time. It wasn't a very well-paying job. It was, in fact, it was a horrible paying job. A lot of work, and I retired here a little over 3 years ago and love it. In fact, I actually had the guy I was doing work for call me here a couple weeks ago and wanted to know if I'd come back and do some more work. And I go, no, I'm done. I hated doing that job when I was working, so I wasn't going to go back to it. So, yeah, so that's what I did, John. All right. Ron said they had a barbecue at the field yesterday. That's cool.
Ours was canceled.
A feast.
Saturday.
Yeah, our barbecue was canceled Saturday because the rain. It was sunny on Saturday morning here. A feast. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Like I said again, glad to see everybody show up. Appreciate all my chat people there. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a chat because it'd just be me talking. So glad to see everybody come on board. And if you're watching this later on, I get a lot of people, I can tell by the numbers that's watched later. So if you have any thing you want to add to it, any questions, any topics you want to go over, leave it in there, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You know, let's get some more people in here. And the more we have, it's fun. It's fun chatting with each other and asking questions and talk about anything. And I don't try to keep nothing taboo. If you have an opinion, you can say it. It's like, it's all right. Everybody has different opinions. You don't have to agree. So, but yeah, I'm not going to limit to nothing unless it's vulgar, you know. But you know, we try to keep it open now. So again, if you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. Costs nothing, and hit the bell if you want to be notified. And everybody have a happy Memorial Day, and we'll see everybody again tomorrow morning.